Okay, we're going to go through some additional events, or we're going to actually explore some events. You've already played around with a few, right? We've played around with click, but just like we showed with selectors that you can select anything on the page, we want to show the different events that can trigger selecting a selector on the page, and then we'll talk more about what you can do to those events. But we've already explored how you can change color, how you can change text, how you can hide or show. And with style sheets, of course, we can change the location on the page, we can make things animate, we can do all kinds of stuff. But let's just make sure we understand what are the events that can trigger these things. We've already talked about the concept of click, right? So right now I have button, click, and that's going to run this rule here, or this, I guess it's a method here, which is going to change the style of this of all paragraph tags to blue. Okay, so right now I got my two paragraph tags. If I click this button, it's going to change that to blue with a click. Another one that you can do is double click. Okay, so right now I change it to DBL click, standing for double click, and if I click on the button, it doesn't do anything. If I click on the button again, it doesn't do anything. I have to double click on the button, at which point it will change. Okay. Now, if I want to, I can make it where, well, we'll talk about that later. All right, so that's one thing you can do, and I want your first item on the assignment is just to use the double click event just to change the style. It's no big deal. One other thing I want to show you, or not one other thing, I'm going to show you multiple things, but another one that we're going to do is mouse over. Okay, so that's like in style. Remember how we have that colon hover, which we can change the style if it's hovering over it, but that's only if you're hovering over a specific element. So we're going to use JavaScript, or Jquery in this case, to hover over the button, and when we hover over the button, it's going to change the color of these two paragraphs, right? But you see, it's actually not hovering, it's mouse over. So when I have mouse over, it changes it to blue, but it leaves it to blue. So what I can do is I can create another one, which is button, and if I do mouse out. So I have one function for when the mouse goes over it, and then another one when the mouse goes out or leaves it, ceases to be over it, and I'll change that to red. So now when I move my mouse over the button, it goes to blue, and then when I leave, it goes to red. Now you might think, well, that's fine, but remember, what is Jquery about? Write less, do more. So what we want to do is combine those to use, actually I'm going to give you a few more before I do the combination. Let's do another one, mouse down. Okay, so mouse down is going to be, it'll turn it blue, and mouse up, it will turn it red. Okay, so click, turns it blue, mouse up, it turns it red. Click, it turns it blue, mouse up, it turns it red. All right, so if you can't tell, I'm clicking it as we go, right? So again, this starts getting into a lot of power, right? It doesn't mean you have to click. You could double click. You can do one click. I'm going to show you in the next lesson how you can do it with a key press. So let's say you wanted to, make something darker and darker by pressing a key. We'll do that in the next lesson. Just a little tantalizer. But again, you start looking at this and saying, well, like in the same way that a click is both the mouse down and up, can we combine those functions? And yes, you can. I'm going to take the mouse over and mouse out, and I'm going to use the hover function. Okay, and the hover function basically is going to send it one function when it's on it. When the I'm going to send one rule when the mouse is over the button. So we say hover, when you're over it, you're going to run this function, and when you're not over it, you're going to run this function. So basically, it just, again, you have to tell what you want it to do while you're over it and what you want it to do when you're not over it, but you can write less code. So let's do that. Right? Same thing, but I'm using the hover event rather than on mouse over, on mouse out. All right. So that's a short introduction to what we want to do here today. I want you to just experiment. You've learned several events. You've learned the double click event. You've learned the mouse over and mouse out event, which you're probably not going to use that much because you're going to use the hover event instead. And then you can use the mouse down and mouse up, just to be aware of what some of the different events you're going to use. This is a short lesson. We're going to get into some more things tomorrow.